Good afternoon, as always, and welcome to all of you for joining us today. For those of you that are already part of our PaperSave family, we're certainly glad to see you here. If you're not, then hopefully you'll be joining us soon. As you can see on the screen, today our topic is, of course, your not-for-profit strategy. We're going to be spending some time talking about AI agents for financial management. My name is Sarah Steele. This is probably my first time meeting most of you here on this call. I've got about 15 years of client management experience. That's really my wheelhouse, and I'm going on about a decade. It says 5 years here, but I'm going on a decade of custom software development experience. I love what I get to do here. It's a lot of fun. I am part of our team that's based in Indiana. I'm tucked right between Indianapolis and Northwest Indiana. So I'm currently in the home of Purdue, West Lafayette. And as it says on there, you can also ask me anything at all about my dogs, and I will talk your ears off. They're like my favorite things on the planet. We do a lot of dog rescue here, which is certainly a lot of fun. So I love what I get to do here at PairSoft. I work primarily with our PaperSave tool, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. As you probably already know, we are a natively integrated AP automation solution. So at its core, of course, we are document management, but we do so much more than that. Some things that we always like to highlight are things like our optical character recognition system, which can offer up to 100% scanning to assist your team. If you haven't seen this piece in action yet, please reach out to our team for a demonstration. We really like to help you automate as much of your system as is possible. We want to speed things up. We want you to take advantage of all of the information that you already have at your fingertips and just get it tucked inside of your ERP as quickly as possible. We, of course, want to help you use that ERP as your central source of truth and overall just make lives easier for you and for your AP team. We want to speed up your time. We want to free you up to do more interesting things. But of course, increase your accuracy and protect your security. We do all of this because we sit inside of your ERP system, and our goal is to provide that absolutely unparalleled experience. And we're able to do that because we've been doing this for a long time. We've got over 20 years of experience in this space. We're very proud of that, and we're very confident in our ability to be able to provide you with the very best service out there. So again, as I said, if you're already part of our team, then you're probably already familiar with most of those things. If not, then again, welcome, and we're certainly glad that you're here. I do want to cover just a little bit of housekeeping before I jump in. And I'll be bringing this information back up at the end of the presentation today as well. But I do like to make sure that you have this on hand in case something comes up and you have to leave the call. We'll be sending out the recordings as well. But as always, please, please, please reach out to your account manager for more information. They're going to be your number one source of truth for us, and they're going to give you all of that great contact, be able to help you schedule demonstrations, be able to help you get those good one-on-ones, and really be able to see some of these things and how they'll help you and help your organization. Now, if you're new to your organization or you're not really sure who your account manager is, that's okay. We will help you with that as well. Our generic box, if you will, is just info@pairsoft.com. You can reach out to that at any time. We'll be able to find out who you're supposed to be talking to and, of course, get you scheduled with them right away. So you can see a list of our different ERPs that we integrate with natively over there on the right-hand side of my screen. So we try to keep today's information as relevant for everyone as possible because we're going to be focusing again primarily on that PaperSave tool. So you should be recognizing probably one of the ERPs that you're in right now over there on the right-hand side. So make sure you've got that information handy as well when you reach out, but we'll be more than happy to schedule some time specifically with you. And I'm very excited. If you're scheduling a demo, you may very well get to see me again or one of the amazing senior engineers on our team. But for now, we'll just get right in today and show you some stuff that's going to be pretty cool. So here's my goal for today. We're going to spend some time talking about AI, why AI, and why now. We'll spend some time talking about the things that we've already built here at PairSoft that you can get incorporated into your processes right away. And I'm going to take you into one of my demonstration environments and show you how that's actually working and pulling that information up right now. We'll spend a little bit of time also talking about our AI roadmap. So, not just what we've done, but what we're going to do and some things that we're forecasting that are on the horizon. Love to get some feedback from you folks on that information as well. And then just to add a little bit of extra value, we want to talk about some great ways to keep your ERP as your single source of truth, spend some time talking about some exciting developments that we've had with PairSoft Pay, and make sure that I've left some time at the end for your Q&A. You should have a Q&A button there to be able to submit some questions in. So again, as we're going through things, I've got an amazing team on my side that's helping me watch those different screens. So please drop your questions into the chat so that they can feed those over to me, and we'll be able to get to those by the end of our session together today. So without further ado, let's get started. So why AI and why now? We are here today primarily to talk about our AI agents. That's why you received that email. That's why you're here today. This is very exciting for us, and it's great to see these kinds of developments. As I mentioned at the top of the presentation, I've been working in the custom software space for a long time. And I wish I had a time machine to go back and look at myself years ago. I feel like I'm living in the future every day that we get to do this. It's very exciting. And I like to think that if you're here, it's because you're a little curious too, right? Like there's got to be some things that you're like, well, what are they doing? What is exciting about this? And how can AI help me out? I kind of also like the phrase AI curious, right? Like I think that's a fun thing to say. But the truth is that it's really transforming the way that our finance teams operate. We're not here to replace people's jobs, but what we do want to do is we want to help you make better decisions, and we want to help you make those decisions faster. In the spend management space, we already have AI agents that are just reshaping how the team is handling approvals or handling procurement workflows. And we want to embed more agents into these real life workflows. We want to create responsive systems, things that your finance team can actually trust and trust that process, but still be able to stay in control. And I love the idea that AI, you want it to assist your team, but it shouldn't assume, right? It should assist, but it shouldn't assume. And that's why our product team has been working so hard to really build a clear framework, right? When the agents act, when they make suggestions, and deciding, when they should also, frankly, step aside. There are also places that we recognize that just AI isn't appropriate to be in. So when we started with this, the first place that PairSoft really developed in this space, and I've got, I think, 3 guys that are showing up on here, is in the GL coding area. As I mentioned, not every task is a good fit for AI, but we felt that this was a really good place to start. We don't want to replace human nuance. We don't want to replace human judgment. We've found that that often backfires. But what we do want to do is find any place where we have an opportunity to summarize your past activity and then suggest that, right? So we're summarizing and we're suggesting and saying, hey, this is a possibility. But what we don't want to do is automatically switch, right? People find it very uncomfortable when AI overwrites their history, and we don't want to do that. But we also want to be able to kind of raise that flag and say, hey, maybe there's a better way. Maybe there's a better suggestion that we could make here. We don't want to do anything out of context, I guess is a good way to put it. And because this GL coding piece is available right now, this is what we're going to get to demonstrate. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And while we're watching this, though, what I want you to be thinking about are 2 things that are, let's call it, on the horizon. And that would be PO matching and approver selection. So again, for those of you that are already familiar with the PaperSave tool, if you're using PaperSave for PO matching, I know that not everybody does. Ideally, what we're looking for is matching those line item details from your from the invoices to your POs. So that's going to really help speed up approvals, which is great. But I do know that at the heart of all of our workflows, right, is the approver process. And so as we go in here, be thinking about your approvers too, because we're going to come back to this. So this slide exists in the event that for some reason you're talking to one of us and they don't have a demo environment handy, I'm assuming. But basically what we're going to show today is what you see here. So we're going to use that item history for anything that's been processed already through PaperSave, and we're going to make some suggestions. I don't want to steal my own thunder though, so I don't want to spend too much time on this particular slide because I do want to show you folks what this looks like in the real world. So let me change screens here for just a moment. All right, so for our friends on the call that are already familiar with PaperSave, you're probably very familiar with what this screen looks like. Of course, our workflow, we can see that I've got some items that I've already gone ahead and pre-populated in here for myself as that first step is my workflow in here, what I'm calling AP review. And those items have dropped into my inbox. Of course, I got my notification that lets me know, hey, Sarah, you've got some things that you need to kick the workflow off for, and that's just fine. I'm going to go ahead and start down here at the bottom with my little Northwest Traders. So again, because these items have already been pulled in, they've already been scanned, obviously we've got some information that's populating over on the right-hand side. But what it didn't have was it didn't have any distributions, not for this particular one. And you may notice over here in the right-hand corner, I've got this little, it looks like the patches my mom used to stick on the knees of my jeans when I was a kid. Maybe it's supposed to be a little computer chip. I don't know, but it does say AI on it. And that tells me that that's been activated for this particular workflow. And so if I click on that, what it does is it pulls up these three pieces of information for me and says, hey, Sarah, based on the information that we have, this is what we would suggest. So imagine if I'm a newer employee, I haven't been working here for very long, or maybe I'm in a new department, I've been with the organization, but I'm handling some newer different accounts. This certainly makes things a lot easier for me. I can click this top one, and sure enough, it's pulling in the one that is appropriate for this one, staff development. And it's, as always, populating all of those pieces that are coming over from my attached ERP. And I love this. So where the heck is it getting this information from? What it's doing is it's looking at the history. So it's looking at what have you as an organization done with this vendor previously in the past? And based on that information, what are the three most likely candidates for distribution for this particular invoice? And I think that's a really smart way of doing things. So when we first install the tool, when it first starts working for you, it doesn't have that information necessarily unless you've been using PaperSave for a while. But what I think is fascinating is if you are part of our family already, whether or not you've been using the AI, the data exists, the information exists, and adding the AI tool just makes that data accessible. So it really ramps up the adoptability, I suppose, of the tool. All we're doing is saying, hey, new tool, please look at our previous history. And based on what you've seen before, what do you think we should do with this particular invoice? Now, what that does mean is that if you add a new vendor, the system will have to learn what you normally do with that particular vendor. But I think it's a really great way of doing things. So when I started this one up and we threw the AI in here, it was like, okay, well, I'd never used the UPS vendor, not in my environment before. It's one that my other amazing senior engineers here use. Or if you ever got to see one of Tammy's webinars when she was still here, she used UPS an awful lot. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what this does. And when I clicked it and I clicked that top number, sure enough, the first thing that pulled up was postage and shipping. And I thought, okay, this is really neat because I'd never done it before, but the system was still able to access all of that data that was out there that exists and be able to still make that recommendation for me. And so if you think this is something that your organization would find valuable, would speed things up for you, let us know because this is something we'd certainly like to show you. Now, having AI button there doesn't prevent me from continuing to add more distributions if I need to, from splitting those up if that's necessary. I can still, click through as always and add more fields in here if I'd like to. That's totally fine. But it's that ability to be able to grab things quickly that I just feel is a huge advantage. Grabbing quickly and grabbing accurately. So, all great stuff to be able to show there. So, again, I'm going to take us back out of this environment. So, pause me for a quick second while I stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to move us back over, hopefully, to the other screen. And let's see if that works. It only took me 2 tries today. So there we go. I've got to share it again. So get my glasses back on. Bear with me. Okay, so what else is coming? Now, as I mentioned to you on the earlier screen, we talked a little bit about the PO matching agent, but also invoice approver suggestions agent. So think for a moment what I just showed you folks as far as the making those suggestions for distributions and saying, okay, based on the previous information that you have in here and based on ways that you have moved these invoices before, we think that this could be a good opportunity to suggest these distributions. Cool. But what if we could do that with reviewers and say, hey, based on how you've routed this particular vendor before, based on how this looks in the system or the dollar amount or these other features that are in there, we feel like you should perhaps route this one for approvals to one of these 3 people. And I think that would be a great feature to use AI for as well, to say, hey, again, making suggestions. We're not overriding, we're not forcing, we're not saying, oh, you have to send this to Susie or oh, you have to send this to Joseph, but we're saying, you might want to. For a growing organization, if your organization is fortunate enough that you are moving forward, you're growing and you're adding people to your team, we can also see how this would help with error reduction as you're onboarding new staff and giving them a little bit of extra confidence when they say, I think it should go this way. And then they get that confirmation that says, okay, I was right. It should absolutely go this way. So just some things to think about there. We've also talked about adding something like a reporting agent. As you know, PaperSave already has some great ways to perform searches and really build in some complex ways to search and pull very complex data and reporting out of your system as it is. We want to make that even easier for you, and we want to use that AI piece to encourage you to be able to get even smarter reports out of your system even easier. So we've got some great suggestions around that. Again, some things that we're just kind of noodling on, but talk to your account manager if you've got some suggestions for some good reports that you'd like to see as far as AI development as well. Much further down the line, but certainly still worth talking about. We've also put some things in the let's call it in the works in the for the big brains in the room around looking at having AI assist with fraud detection. So looking for fraudulent invoicing, looking for fraudulent information, vendors trying to get into your system and get paid for things that they haven't done, but also for cash forecasting, looking at historical invoices and being able to really help build future budgets based on past information. So again, really giving you just, we have the data in there. How can we use it to help you make smarter business decisions going forward? So just great things to come there. And again, I wish I could go back, 15 years and look at a younger me and say, really, this stuff is coming. I think it's cute when my son wants to, make a picture of a cat that also looks like an astronaut, but that's not what I want to use AI for. I want to use AI to make my job easier and to make my life easier, and to make the business processes that I do every day, frankly, safer. And I hope that you guys too. And that's why you're here, right? Just learn more about it. So, speaking of making everything just a little bit more um, accurate, let's talk a little bit about the importance, of course, of our single source of truth, and why it's important that we use our ERP this way. If there's one thing, if there's one magic wand that I could wave for all of our clients, I would gift them with the ability to spend a little bit more time gardening inside of their ERP, right? Pulling weeds, pulling out information that is inaccurate, pulling out information that does not help you, but also spending time planting. Planting good information, planting healthy information, planting information that our tool can reach out, grab, pull in, and help make your automations a little bit easier. So I happen to have the ability to jump into one of my ERPs to show this as kind of an idea for you real quick. And I do want to do that. I'm just going to drag this guy over here. And I'm inside of NXT because that's the one I happen to have open, but this is true for all of our ERPs, right? One of the reasons why PaperSave is as good at what it does as it is because of the way that it is able to, really grab that information that you've provided to us and attach that in with your invoices quickly. And again, increase that automation. I'm going to pull up Fujitsu here as my example, but this is just, again, information that we're looking for, things that we're trying to attach to. Number one, most important thing, we want to make sure that we have proper addresses in the system, because that's how our OCR pulls in those vendors. We're trying to match the address that's printed on that invoice and match that over so that we're finding the right vendor inside of the system. So that's obviously the first thing that we want to talk about. Secondarily, I always like to talk about things like, distributions or other other features that you could have inside here that will help us pull information over. Now, if you're asking and you're thinking to yourself, well, Sarah, that all sounds great, but I don't even know for sure what we can and what we can't pull over. That's okay. Your account manager does. Okay. We actually have entire sheets of documentation on our side that we can send over to you and say, hey, these are all fields in your ERP that we can connect to, that we can pull that information over, and we can speed up that coding process for you. So if you're sitting there thinking, Sarah, this all sounds good, but I don't know if it's as fast as I think it could be, again, reach out to us, see if you've got all of the fields that you could have hooked up, and make sure that you're spending at least a little bit of time gardening, right? Garden inside of that ERP, pull out inaccurate information, but also make sure that you're adding in that information that's going to help you downstream. So I did say that I wanted to make sure that I was respectful of everybody's time today. So I want to make sure that I do spend just a touch of time talking a little bit about PairSoft Pay. I know that many of you have heard a little bit about it. If you're not currently using it, I can't imagine why. It's fabulous. But I'll touch briefly on this. It's not the huge focus of our webinar today. Like I said, I wanted to focus mostly on that AI piece. But as my friendly reminder to everyone, you do not need to change your current banking relationship. We don't even want you to. We're going to be able to help you move funds from your primary bank accounts to help you to fund your payments. You're going to be approving those batches inside of your tool, inside of your PaperSave tool with us. And then we send those messages off to your bank to begin that processing. It's a pretty incredible system. And again, if you haven't started taking advantage of it yet, talk to your account manager. I'm a big fan of PairSoft Pay and how it works. I love the fact that it really helps us to ensure that you've got great efficiencies. It's going to make sure that you're saving time. It's going to help you save some costs. Some of our clients are able to even get some revenue share back to them, which is kind of nice. We like to get cash back in our pockets. So that really helps as far as expenses goes. So good opportunities there. Now, again, if you want to talk more about AI, reach out to your account manager. You want to talk more about making your system more efficient, talk to your account manager. And talk more about pay, talk to your account manager, all of the things. Folks like myself, my partners Janet and Julio, we are absolutely here to talk to you about great ways that we can help you. We'll get you those demos scheduled, spend some one-on-one time inside your system, showing different ways that we can help you be more efficient. If you don't know who to talk to, that's what that info at pairsoft.com is for.